Okay, welcome to Sunday evening. Altcoins of Manny. We're here. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about some altcoin plays. Let's take a look at Bitcoin in terms of a bigger picture, because that's kind of what we need to pay attention to. Now, if you guys were, where is it? Bitfinex. If I think it was the last call, was it Thursday? I was talking about this. It must have been Thursday. We were talked about the running flat correction. So for those of you who don't know what it is, I'll just review it again real quickly. A running flat correction is a very, very interesting thing that happens in the market. It doesn't happen that often, but it's a potential that's happening right now. I'll show you guys what it looks like. You guys can do your own research in terms of more details about it, but it works like this, okay? It's actually one of the most rarest types of moves you'll ever see in the market. So if it is this what's happening, I mean, geez, it's very, very, very sneaky. Okay. So I'm just going to draw it out and then I'm going to explain it. One, two, three, 4, 5, and then the last bit, which is the ABC of this whole thing. Okay. That orange. Okay, so the basic idea of a running flat correction is that in Elliott wave theory, you have series of 5s and 3s, okay? So the big play in terms of what's happening with Bitcoin, why we're just stalling right over here, because there's a good possibility that we sweep down lower. And I know it's not something you want to hear, especially on a Sunday, especially when you feel like the market's about to head up, and it could head up. But the more and more that I see it stall, the more and more I'm anticipating a dive to the lower side, because I'm also looking at the Forex market, and the foreign exchange market looks like it's about to sell off. Well, the USD pairs look like it's about to sell off this week. So I'm anticipating kind of a sweep again. So the basic idea of this is that there's a 3-wave series down. So we have a 0 to A to B, B to C. That brings us down here, okay? Then you have 3 ways up. 0 to A to B, B to C, okay? And then you have a 5-wave series down, which happens right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the one thing about this corrective wave is that the 5th wave generally needs to be lower than B. So if B is here, okay, and we are here, and this is where the correction happened, this is where it's like, is this sufficient enough to be a sweep of this? And probably if I look on other exchanges, we'll probably see something just a bit lower. But so far, I haven't seen it. So this leads me to believe, and that I'm kind of just coming with my investigative thought, that we have a chance of just sweeping just a bit lower. Okay, so I'm going to explore that picture with you guys in terms of what I'm paying attention to in terms of the lower price ranges. Speaking of which, before I continue this, I have a limit order that I do not like anymore. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So there we go. All right. So now, is there a potential of us going up? Yes. But I'm going to go towards the downside first, because the downside looks like it might play out. Okay. So let's start off like this. So I'm going to start off from a higher time frame just to show you guys a bit more details of what's happening. And then when I get down to a lower time frame, I'll show you why I'm looking down there. Okay. All right. So let's start off with some higher time frame. Let's go into the weekly. And let's take a look at 2 things. Let's take a look at the last high to low period that we had in Bitcoin. Okay. And let's utilize what we have here, which is our 1618. I'm going to give my extensions. There we go. Then I'm going to change up. I'm going to add the 272, which is an extension that I explained on Thursday. It's very important. 2272. Okay. Okay. I'll move this here, which is the 1618, and I'll bring this here, which is the 272. Okay. Now this 1617, now this 1618 is very important because that's kind of where we pivot from. And you can see once the market gets up here, we generally not supposed to drop down below here again. Okay. Once the market's reclaimed there. And I talked about this last week, we're at the 272. And once the market generally reclaims here, we generally will not drop below. Now, what I'm talking about here is not us dropping below per se, but us wicking below and doing a wick and really just bringing this lower, but on these higher time frames, not really losing this level. Now, if you look at this on like the high time frame on the weekly, you can see we're starting off with a down candle, right? There is a good chance that this will end up down here and then close back here by the end of the week, which means that we don't lose the level per se on a weekly time frame. We just lose it on like a daily time frame or on a 4-hour. So there's a good chance we come here and sweep all this. So I'm starting to look at this from that perspective because I'm trying to think about it like a market maker, right? And here, a market maker, are you going to leave this? Are you going to leave this? And are you going to leave this? The answers are generally no. You're not going to leave any of that, right? And especially this. This is kind of something that I'm paying attention to. Okay, so when we go from higher time frames, we see the 1618 and the 272. Okay, we can now pay attention right over here from this point right over here. Okay, this is the beginning of the fourth wave. If you're in Ontario, that's kind of funny. So this is the beginning of the fourth wave, okay? And you can see it's just downwards from there. Now, if you were to now take an Elliott wave pattern and look at it, like in terms of impulse, where does it start? It starts here, okay? So if we're starting here, it should look something like, let's take a corrective approach. So measure it. Give me this one. Okay, so our correction happened here. Boom. So you can see hits the 382, comes down. And if this is what I think it is, which is this is a 5-wave series within this, that means there's another part of this that's going down, right? And I'll show you why. So if this is 223, here's your 50% correction right over here that we didn't pass. Once we didn't pass that level, then all bets are off. We're probably going to drop down lower because that's where you really wanted to see it like head up even higher. Like if it was going to continue, you want to see it kind of break past here. Now we are in a place where you're in a crossroads, okay? Because yes, we didn't pass here. This on a bigger time frame, this is the 5th wave. This is also the C wave. So at any point, it can drop as low or as high as it wants. Like I said, is this sufficient enough to sweep out this? Because that's what you're paying attention to. In this type of corrective wave, generally speaking, the last point of it is that this 5th wave sweeps this B wave. That's the last point. So I'm looking more towards this $36,000 point. Now, the reason why is because if it's going to sweep here, I'm going to bet on it sweeping here and get into this imbalance right over here. That was take a wild stab at it. Okay. So I'm going to go on the daily. I'm going to take a look at one thing, which is actually, I'll go to the weekly. So I like the higher time frames. Yeah. So on the weekly, you have two things right over here. One is one imbalance right over here. And two, another imbalance right up here. So if I was to take a wild stab at this, there is a good chance we end up in one of these imbalances or filling out this candle before the end of this week. Now, mind you, like I said, the main goal is to keep this 272. So I think there's a better chance of us coming down to here and coming back up, something like this wick, right? Sometimes Bitcoin leaves some wicks, right? And this is where it's like, is that possible? Well, yeah, look at this wick right over here. This wick starts at 34, drops down to 29, comes back up to 34 in 1 week. So there's a good chance we come all the way down to 36, come back up to 40 by the end of the week, or even just holding this. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that you understand when you're looking at candlesticks and all that stuff, it's the break and close, and then the next candle closing below. So if we're gonna lose this level, you would have it's not just the break. So like one candle breaking isn't losing the level. It's the candle closing underneath. That's one, right? So this candle closed above, this candle closed below. If this candle closes below, okay, that's cool. If the following week's candle closes below, that's when you're like, oh crap, this is not good. There's a lot of traders right now that are saying 39,000 is like kind of their like, ooh, I don't know. And it's true. Like it's a very scary place to be, right? But look, like I said, look at the fear and greed index. That still tells me that we're still in a place where we can go up, but I don't think we're going to go up yet. Okay, so further analyzing here, if we're going to sweep down in here, that means, well, and I'll take a look at the alt dominance, because right now the thing I'm paying attention to is that with Bitcoin dropping down, the money that's outflowing out of Bitcoin isn't leaving the market per se, is heading into alts, it's heading all over the place. So like you're still not, it's not a bad place to be in alts. And I do have a couple alts that I'm looking at. Okay, so if this is what happens, this is the fourth going to fifth wave. So if this is 4, that means we will not pass this. We should make our way lower. Now, there's another way to look at this, okay? And I'll show you the other way to look at this, but I really don't think that's this. I really think that if there's another way to look at this. The other way to look at this is that this was just an ABC, so a 3 wave, and that this is a corrective. So it's like, so instead of correction, this is wave 1. Okay, so now here's how this looks. Once you pay attention to this, okay, generally in Elliott wave, you're always making moves up. You're not going to drop down lower. So even if like this happens, right, your last line of defense is right. Oh, actually, sorry. Last line of defense is right here. So 40,000 is a very big play. If we drop below 40,000 at that point, so what you would be looking for is something like this. Drop below 40,000, come into like here, let's say like here, come back up, retest, and then drop. Okay, and that's kind of like that last final play. Now, when we look at what's happening here, so let me show you, because we took a look on higher time frames, like why this was a 50% 618 of a bigger move. So like looking at this localized area, like we just rejected there, right? And so like, in all honesty, when you're looking and you're seeing it, you're just rejecting, generally speaking, it's not looking good for Bitcoin at this point. But it's taking its time, because at the end of the day, like I said, it goes back to what's the DXY doing, and the DXY is not going to move till tomorrow. So like, look at this, Forex Factory. So let's go to Forex Factory. And it's all about news events, right? At the end of the day, news is an excuse to move the market. So tomorrow, we have no news. It's actually a holiday tomorrow, Martin Luther King Day. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing, because also on holidays, I find Bitcoin ends up being very erratic, and because there's nothing else to trade, so people, like in terms of the US, they just trade Bitcoin. Going into Tuesday, nothing. Oh, wait a minute. No US news this week? Come on, really? So if that's the case, Wow, it's like no US news until look for red folders here, FOMC, which is the 26th. Okay, so if news is generally going to be the excuse that drives us down. Okay, so this I'm playing towards the bearish side because of the fact of the way this market's looking. It don't look nice. Okay, it looks like it's going to drive down. So if this is the case of us driving down lower, your best idea in terms of a trade is waiting for this, because honestly speaking, like this is like kind of like your swing. Now could you catch it right here? I mean, yeah, but if we don't break lower and all we do is just kind of go like this, okay, I'll show you, because there's always two ways to look at this. There is the factor of we're dropping, we just drop a little bit lower into this level down here, and we hold all of this. All right, so like this was, if you look at this like this, it would be, I'll show you. I'll change the color of this so it doesn't get confusing. Okay. So it'd be something like this, and it comes down into like, yeah, it can't break here, but it could break here and get down to like here, and then come back up. Something like this. Okay, change the color to yellow. Okay, so something like this. But see what I mean in terms of we're going to need to start passing this level here and make our way past here. And make our way past here. So what needs to happen if this is a true, let's say for instance, this is a true Elliott wave pattern, okay? If this is a fourth wave of the fifth wave going down, it cannot pass here. So I'm giving you parameters of like big time frame stuff, so you know, okay, so like if you're going to play to the downside, 47,000, it can't get above here, because that's generally, like if you look at that, that's where wave two kind of starts, wave two ends, and we go down further. So if that's where wave two kind of starts and ends, and we're just dropping down further, then at that point, when you're looking at like wave four, grab this. This is where Elliott wave can be confusing. Not confusing, but there's a lot of possibilities, right? No one ever knows what's going to happen in the market. So you're just not guessing. You're more so looking at it and you're making ideas out of what's happening. Okay. Okay. So here's your 50%, 618. We reject right over there at the 50%. Okay. So let me make this cleaner based off of the series. Okay. So we reject right at 50%. If this is going to continue up, right, it's going to be something like this, which completes the fourth wave. So there's two ways this looks like. One like this, where it completes the fourth wave. And realistically, this is just getting ready to drive us down for FOMC next week with the fifth wave. And everything meets up down here. And I'll show you why. There's some more confluence that tells me that we're going to drop down next week. But if you look at this like this, then you're starting to look at it and say, okay, I think I see I see what's happening here, right? This starts here. So like if this was an 886 retracement, then this would be get us up here. So I mean, like literally what would happen is this, okay? Going into tomorrow, London, going into New York, this drops down further. Yeah, okay, something like this. Trying to make it as realistic as possible in terms of timing. Okay, so if this is going to turn around, which I don't think it's going to, I think it's going to continue going down because this is clearly an ABC. We rejected right over here. So I think we're going to come off of this 4-hour enclosure. And I'll take a look at lower time frames and see that. But there's obviously we come back up, reject there, and then come down. We've seen this before. I wouldn't take that trade yet, but this is a potential sell-off to get us down into this 886 level. I would now buy up the 886 level, which I'm pretty sure Danny Perrin has Swipecoin Educator has a trade that is supposed to be down there, but I'm pretty sure he said to take it off because the move already happened. but we never came back down into this level, which was this 30-minute level right down in here, right? We never came back down and retested that level, or did we? Oh, I guess we did. Oh, look at that. Well, I guess it must have been closer down in here. All right, so we did come back out and retest it. So at this point, your 886 is right here, which when you start looking at lower time frames, you can just see a lot of stuff that's happening down there. So let's go into the 50-minute, drop down. So we do have a last down candle before up moves. So there's a good chance that we come back down there, which this came and mitigated right over here, but nothing came back and mitigated this point right here. So there's a good chance that we come down there either tomorrow morning or, yeah, I'd say tomorrow morning or either tonight, that we make our way down here. If you wake up and you see this down here, I wouldn't be playing to the bearish side as of yet, because what I would anticipate is a 5-wave series going up that would complete this 4th wave in this, like, so, okay, just to show you guys. So this is for the 5, okay? But in the 4 to 5, there's we're technically doing like Elliott waves through it, right? So you have an Elliott wave here, you have your wave here, which is kind of like, could be more like this. I need to make it, doesn't need to look, well, it doesn't need to look perfect, but like something like that. And then if this goes down, you can see it going down. And now if we're heading up, if the 5th wave is something like this, then you'd be looking at something like this, taking us up here, rejecting off the 886. I'd be looking for that 886, like somewhere in here, in this zone right over here, to now sell us down to here. Now, okay, back to why I think that we can still head down there. Okay, so the last point that we have is from this point to this point right here. Okay. And our 2618 is right over here. Okay. So what does this mean? So when they're looking at Fibonacci points, let me get rid of some of this so it doesn't, so I can clean up the chart. Let me clean up the chart for you guys a bit. I'll leave that there. Okay, so when you're looking at Fibonacci points, right, you have your extensions. So our 1618 is right over here. So I'm gonna make this a red horizontal ray. Actually, I will make it, let's make it green. So I'll make that green. Okay, just so you guys can see it. And you can see we've really messed around with that area. Okay, so there's a good chance, like I said, we come back down and come back up. Now, once we pass there, the 200's here, but then look where the 2618 is. Now, the reason why I think that there's a good chance we come to the 2618 is because we can't hold the 1618. I'm just going golden ratio to golden ratio, which is right over here. And this is what I mean by, in terms of a week, we can end up down here for the week, but you would have a bullish, like, if you understand like what I'm showing you right now, I'm showing you a completion of 3 different moves all at the same time, all around the same area. Okay, so this is why it's so big, is because if this happens the way that I'm picturing it right now, is that you have a completion of, so let's go back out. You have completion of this 0A B C corrective wave on like a daily, weekly time frame. Okay, I'd say on the weekly time frame. We'll say this on the weekly time frame more so, because on the weekly time frame this plays out, this obviously plays out better. Okay, on the daily, we have a 5-wave cycle that's been going from November and making its way down. Okay, so we have a 5-wave cycle that's been making its way down, and this can't be the end of the 5th wave if this is a running flat correction. because this didn't sweep this point right here. So I would say patience is going to pay here. And I think that there's a good chance that we sweep for the week. So we end up down here either this week or next week. And then, well, actually, let's say this week. If we end up down here this week, let's say this. We can end up here by the end of this week. It can move really slow and just end up here this week. If that happens, then next week we are heading down here. If we end up here by the middle of the week, then you can anticipate us to get swept down, like just a fast drop, and then a buy that's like this. So literally, even if it happens, let's say it closes like right here. So it comes down. So I'll show you. It comes down like right about here and gives you the lowest closing candle at like the 886 or like here. Okay. Sweeps everything, comes back up and closes here. It'd still be a lower closing candle. And your fifth wave would be this. You just need to like close lower and show the fact that it's swept. So if it closes lower, that's one. It just needs to close lower than any of these candles here. And there needs to be a wick that sweeps all this, right? So in terms of Elliott wave, in terms of this particular wave, this 5 wave, whenever it's done, it needs to be underneath this B wave. That's the key thing. So wherever price ends, if it's down here or down up here, it needs to end underneath. And I'll make this a different color line because it's once I like to see what this looks like after next week. Let's make it purple. All right, so I'm anticipating something like this. Okay, now, if this is what we're looking at and this is what we're paying attention to, what does this mean for altcoins? Because this is kind of like the bigger, like, what does this all mean? Well, let's take a look. Altcoins are ranging right now. Now, when they're ranging, there's a coin I was looking at, it's JASMY. So I'll take a look at it because that's sitting at 7 cents. And it's 6 cents now, even better. Okay. It's hovering at this place of entry. Okay. Now, if you guys are with me with JASMY, JASMY is one of those coins that I like. It just got listed onto Binance. It's on Coinbase. And the reason why I like it is because it's one of the main coins that are in Japan. Okay. So what do we have here? Well, we have a localized level that was resistance, right? So we shot up, we came back down. This is all 2021. And then we came back up, popped our head up, higher low, and the rest is history. Okay. Jeez. So this is the entire story of JASMY. Okay. Now you have a chance to get this thing at like 6 cents. It's sitting on Binance, KuCoin, Bittrex, sitting on like a lot of major exchanges on Coinbase. And there's a good chance based off of like, and this is all surrounded off of hype, but like if you look at it where it was in May to where we are, if this thing goes back up, forget the fact of it getting to $2. Okay, let's just not think about that right now. It's currently sitting at 6 cents. Let me grab a calculator. So it being at 6 cents, 0.6, if it went up to $1.20, that would be 10x is 60. That would be 20x. Okay. Which example of this is you put $100 in it. Okay. That's $2,000. That's cool. If you put $1,000 in it, that is $20,000. So this is one of those coins where, and I'm talking about just getting up to $1.20, like right there, right? Not even talking about the 50% 618, not even talking about the 886, 786, not even talking about the 1618 extension, and not even pointing out the 4618 extension. Okay. Like, I'm literally just saying, like, before even all that happens, eventually this coin needs to shoot back up. Okay. If you look at how it drops, whenever you have something like this is just accumulation, right? And accumulation in zones specifically, because you can see how it drops below this zone, retest, comes back down, higher low, comes back up, higher low, comes back up. This has to be a higher low. Because if it goes to lower high, it breaks this point right over here. Now you're looking at it and it's like, oh, spaghetti-o, about to drop off the face of the earth. Okay. Now, could that happen? Of course it can. Anything can happen. At the end of the day, nothing is foolproof in crypto. Now, what would I do if it dropped down to this 886 at 4 cents? I would probably sell some other things and get into here on a bigger scale, like a larger scale, buy even more. Because when you see cryptos that are fundamentally good, one, two, have a story behind it. Like I said, this is one of Japan's first coins. Okay. And this is one of the only ones that they can actually trade with. So this is something. So already you can consider it like this: national pride. This is Japan's coin. If this is Japan's coin, how far are they going to take this up once the market recovers? So this is the thing you got to look at with this type of coin. So for me, I look at this and I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, like any other coin that I have, it can just die and disappear. This is the risk that you take with all of cryptocurrency. So what's the difference? And so that's where I live in terms of what's the difference between me buying this and me buying AMP. AMP's at 4 cents, this is at 6 cents. The difference is tokenomics changed in terms of JASMY to AMP. So I'll show you tokenomics. Coin Gecko. Because AMP's another good one. And I like AMP. And I think that, like, at this point right now, you have to be looking at accumulating, right? When the market's like this, you can't be sitting on the sidelines being like, oh, the market sucks. Oh my gosh, can't do anything. This is the time you have to be accumulating, because you don't get another opportunity to accumulate. You have this time to accumulate right now, and then the market shoots up, and then you're just left with I wish I accumulated more. Okay, so circulating supply is 4 billion. AMP. $48 billion. See what I mean? And AMP is I think AMP has a high chance. Here's another one, VeChain. VeChain's number 36, right? Just tokenomics, 66 billion, worth 7 cents. The highest it got up to is 30 cents. Okay, so is there enough money to flow into? So now the question that I have to ask myself, right? Now that I've deduced all this stuff, all right, 72% down, you should be buying more VeChain. Just saying. At the end of, like I said, this is the time to accumulate. So your goal is to accumulate assets that are good. You want to stay away from the crap. You want to get the good. So my goal is to point out the good, especially in this time in the market where we're in this place where it's a lull, right? All-time high, $4.79 1 year ago, 98% retracement. Okay, so this is like, think about it like this. Okay, it's a 98% down right now. You have to pay attention to it from a point of view of Warren Buffett, and this is how I bought Icon. It's not Icon, Cardano. Ooh, snow! Wow. Just looked out my window and there's a pile of snow outside. All right, so when I bought Cardano, so I'm gonna give you guys a tidbit in terms of like how to because when you're investing in the cryptocurrency, you cannot pay attention to the price as heavy as you think you should. Because you pay attention to the price too much, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, why is it not going up? But Manny said it's supposed to go up. Why is it not going up? And it doesn't go up, and then you get sad. Okay, that's not what you want to do. Ooh, Cardano. Ooh. That's that 886 from this level. 98, almost 98% retracement from this level to this level. This takes you to the brink of like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Woo! Okay, so there's also a Head and Shoulders. Okay, so anyways, when we're looking at something like Cardano, when I bought Cardano, this was the accumulation cycle that I was in. I gotta go out to like the weekly. You guys can see 1,036 days. March 2018, December 21st, 2020. That's how long I was buying Cardano for. Look how much time there was doing nothing, right? And I bring this out for you because at the end of the day, if we are in a, let's say for instance that everything just tanks, we start going down even more, and the market just starts crumbling, okay? Then you have to understand that means we're in a bear market. So, oh well. Now, the only thing you can do in a bear market is accumulate. You have no wishful thinking about what's the future going to be like. Oh, I cannot wait. You don't think like that. What you think is like, I'm going to buy. Now, why did I buy Cardano throughout all of this without any sort of pop-up, right? Like literally went from I remember went from 1 cent to 11 cents. Like, yeah, Cardano's up there. And it dropped right back down. So why? Because I knew at one point it hit $1. Okay. So we hit $1. And what did I think? Well, it hits $1 again. The more Cardano I have, the more money I'll have at $1. This is simple math. Let me just buy some Cardano. It's only worth 4 cents. That means my buying power is even more with this type of coin. Okay. Now take a look at Cardano's tokenomics. Number 5 cryptocurrency, mind you. It's top 10. What do you see happening here? 32 billion. Okay, so let's go back to JASMY. I'm not even looking at what it's about or any of that stuff. I'm literally just showing you something in terms of how to read markets, in terms of circulating supply with price and how much money needs to flow in it. So this is only 4 billion. So when you come back to JASMY and you're looking at it, understand only 4 billion tokens. There's going to be 50 billion. So at the end of the day, eventually the price is going to get solidified. Now, if everything shoots up, let's just go with the best case scenario. Okay. If everything shoots up and I'll use Cardano right now, and it has the same market cap as Cardano, that's 47 billion. Okay. So JASMY, 47 billion. Calculator. Okay. Look at I'm cool of an Apple computer. All right. Calculator. Okay. What am I calculating? What the heck? Oh, that's why. There we go. Okay, so was it 47 billion? 47 0 0 0. That's 447,000. 470,000. 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 4.7 million. 47 million. 470 million. 4.7 billion. 47 billion. Okay. So the market cap is there with a circulating supply of 475. Let's say 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what I did is I times the market cap by circulating supply, and I brought the circulating supply up a bit. Okay. Equals a lot of money. This is like $2. It's like $2.23, but I think it actually might be more. Pretty sure it's actually more. It's it's $2.23. Let's just use that. I do actually think that's more. Any math wizards in here? Okay. I normally use an Excel spreadsheet for all this stuff. Okay. So when you're looking at that, that's $2.23. Okay, so let's go back into the price action, and then I got one more coin I want to talk about. KDA is at $8. JASMY, okay. So $2.23. That was the number. Look at where the 786 is. And so if you were talking about accumulation, well, there's been people that have been accumulating since this, right? At this point right now, your 886 is right over here. So this is generally your zone of buying. This is buying opportunity, okay? Now, there is a good chance, there's a potential on the 4-hour chart. It looks like we're about to break out. So it looks like this. Line. Trend line. So the 4-hour chart looks like we're about to break out. So if we break this past this line right here, so if we break past that, up and close. Okay. Candlestick. There's a nice good 20 to 30% gain. So something like this, up, down, and then in this area right here. I'd be looking for it to reject off of there. We'll go back up to the daily. The reason why that is a 50%, I don't think it's 50%. I think there's another 50% area that is support turned into resistance. Yeah, that's the 236. So like at this point right now, if this is going to go down lower, this is where it would reject, which is off of this last point of pivot, like it's a pivot level, right? So pivot up, came down, went straight past that. It should come back up and retest that. I don't consider this a retest. This is just enough to get everyone jacked. And then I would love for it to come down here. And if it does come down there, I mean, and I'll buy more, but here's your bullish scenario based off of a 4-hour. So like this should come back up, come down, and then go. So this is a good place to buy it. Okay. Just off of the between 786, 886, this is a great area to buy, and also just to start stacking. Okay. And now next, Cardano. This is another one that you should be stacking up. 68% down from all-time high. It's currently sitting at $8.63. The question is, can it get lower? The answer is possibly. Let's take a look at it, and then I'll wrap it up. You guys got to get McKinley on a call to talk about DeFi Kingdom. I got into it yesterday, and there's like liquidity pools for 400% APR. Nuts. All I gotta say is you gotta drop in the general trade room chat. McKinley, tell me about DeFi Kingdom. I want to call on DeFi Kingdom, and he will probably find some time to do it. What am I looking for right now? Oh, KDA. Is it in alphabetical order? It is. Okay. So KDA right over here. See, we broke out. Let's see. This is that over under. Can we stay here? I mean, yeah. But let's take a look. If we drop lower. Yeah, see, we're already at 100%. This is the scary territory. If it drops any lower, then you're not dealing with like this localized level anymore. You're dealing with a bigger level, which is like from, I would go from like here to here, from the top, the bottom to top. And at that point, this can potentially, since we've lost this 50% 618, there's a good chance we're seeing $3.35 again. And if we see $3.35 again on KDA, that's another one you should be buying up. Now, mind you, let me remind you when we originally started talking about KDA. So you guys know, like, it's not like some brand new coin that's like, oh, what the heck is KDA? Here. It was right down here at like 32 to 20 something cents, like right here in accumulation. We talked about it here. And that was like an opportunity of a lifetime. Jeez. Now, mind you, like I said, I didn't know it was going to shoot up that much, but when it did, my gosh, like this thing like ran. And so I'd be looking for it again right over here. Let's get rid of this at the 886 to hold that 886. And I mean, if it doesn't hold that 886, that means it's dropping lower, right? And so at that point, you'd be looking for it to like hold this $2 range right over here. Now, the reason why I'd want it to hold like that has nothing to do with Fibonacci points, but it has to do with the fact of where it showed resistance before it broke out. If we start breaking down all this stuff and taking all this liquidity, then there is liquidity down here, but there isn't a lot. Like most people would have bought this after $1, and that's what took it past here. So KDA is another one that I'd be personally looking out for right here at this 886 level, because I'm gonna buy it. Because if this is gonna go down lower, I'm gonna buy it down here. Now here's the upside. If it doesn't go down lower, then you're gonna be looking to buy it. You can, like, this is a good place to buy, but this would be the better place to buy once we hold this area right over here. Now, mind you, this does look like a head and shoulders pattern, and this does look like a neckline. So at that point, if it is a neckline, that means this is about to really drop. And if it is about to really drop, this is where we're going in this zone right over here. So I wouldn't be touching this here. I would just wait for the good price right over here. I'd put an alert there and call it a day. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, Reef. Let's see what Reef's doing. Not Reef BTC. I want Reef. Okay. Reef USD. Now, Reef was another one that we were talking about last week. It is sitting on Binance, Bitfinex, Poloniex. Jeez, all the exchanges, all the good exchanges are like, sucks to be on Ontario. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so this dropped down lower. Let's see. This is just your accumulation pattern. I'm still gonna hold. I'm holding it because it's still at an 886 level. So for me, if it's holding this level, you're still good because holding, right? At the end of the day, it's when it drops below this level. So like I'd be taking the L at this point right here. So if it drops below here, I'm going to be getting out and I'll reevaluate and get back in later. Now, there's another thing you can do, which is like, if it ever drops below the entry price that you ever buy in at, then what you can do, if you want to take no losses ever, and you're willing to be okay with this, is, let's say, for instance, it drops down. Okay. If it comes back up, you just put your stop, not your stop loss, but you put your take profit right over here. So it takes you out right where you got in. You don't lose any money, right? So that's another way to do it. So if you ever notice that something like just dies, just put your take profit. You can have two choices. You can take the loss, take the L, move on, or you can just put your take profit where you got in, call it a day. You didn't lose any money. You don't lose money until you sell. That's the difference between investing and trading. In trading on MT4, you have a stop loss. The stop loss takes you up because it's the amount of risk that you're willing to take. in investing, if you're putting $100 in here, you're risking $100. So this $100, you're either going to lose it or you're going to make more, right? Like the thing is that if you lose, like say for instance, it goes from $1 here down to here, that is 30%, 20%. So out of your $100, you just lost 20%. You just lost $20. Now you have $80. Now, realistically, would you, unless you're going to consolidate, consolidating means bringing everything together and going to something else. So I do that sometimes. Like when we were in 20, I'll oftentimes consolidate my entire portfolio and go into one bigger play, right? So sometimes it's like, okay, Cardano looks at a great place. I'm taking all this, removing all the crap, putting it into one, go into Cardano, because I'll make more money off the upside than I will off of just holding and waiting for this, right? I'm not a big proponent of like, I'm just going to wait and cross my fingers. I don't do that. So like, but what you could do is if you're ever getting a place or a jam where you think, I like the project, I like what it's about, but I do not like the current price action, the easiest thing for you to do is just put your entry price, take your entry price and put it as your take profit, and it'll take you out at take profit. You don't lose any money. Okay, that's a little trick for you. But Reef hasn't moved yet. But remember, I said if it doesn't move by this red line, January 30th, get out. This is like, because at the end of the day, it needs to start moving soon. I'm looking for this 100%. So I'm just literally looking for it to get to 2 cents. Right? Like I said, I'm not looking for it to get to new all-time highs or do anything else. Just want to get up here, 2 to 3 cents. Okay. Let's take a look at some things. Oh yeah, he definitely dropped some stuff in the Crypto Club Discord. Question. Yeah, let's go through. I can answer any questions. Take a couple minutes because that's pretty much it. I'll be looking at those 2 coins. So I'll be looking at the 2 coins I'd be taking a look at is get rid of this, is JASMY in terms of just collecting. And I'd be taking a look at, not taking a look, but I'd be getting more of, not Reef. We should already be in Reef. But remember, that's the day. That's the time. JASMY and KDA. Another one that you should be looking at is CFG. CFG is another one that like you should be paying attention to. It's part of the Polkadot project. It is going for a Polkadot parachain. It's in the 886, 786 zone. So it's in the area where you'd want to buy it. This could do what KDA did, and you're able to get it in the cents right now. Right. So it's in your zone of buying. I would be buying this right now, especially. Let's shrink this. If this holds this level, bruh. This holds this level. I'm actually gonna be buying more right now because it holds this level. This year 786, 886. At this place, like this makes the most sense to buy. And if this is Confluence, this is your 50% 618. If it's just chilling out here, that means it's consolidating. And so like when you go to lower time frames, that's the weird thing about crypto. This is the weirdest thing about crypto. You start going down to lower time frames, and you can see more, like you can see the bots working. You can just see accumulation. All right, I'll go down, accumulate. There'll probably be one more swing down. The thing about crypto that's different than Forex, the only thing that's different is liquidity, like the way liquidity comes out, right? Like you can look for it here where it comes, breaks this, makes a new high. So you can see, boom, you buy right there, 82 cents. So like at this point right here, if I'm looking at buying this, I could wait for it to get back down to 78 cents. And I mean, there is a good chance it gets down there. But if you're gonna buy it and wait, if you don't buy it now, you can wait for 79 cents, so 80 cents. Yeah, that's a good place. I put 2 buys, which is also funny because that's ironic that that's where this is, where the last good place to buy it was like right there, shot up right after. I put 2 buys. I put one right in here, like you can see it took out the liquidity already. I'd buy by market here, and then I'd put another one right over here if it gets down there. But it took out the liquidity here. It filled in the gap that's here. So that like right there, like this came down, filled that gap in perfectly. So it's like, well, what else does this need to do? Balanced. So like you keep on looking at it. I guess the only place would be here to balance off on the daily, but like, yeah, I guess that can happen. I mean, this is a lot of buying pressure. And generally speaking, this is where smart money comes in when you look at the market. It doesn't necessarily always need to happen, but you can see a lot of buying pressure here. So the buying pressure, when you look at it, you can see this was the last place that we broke a structure right over here. So we never came back down and kind of tested that. We came down and swept the entire thing. So we broke it, came down, swept it, came back up. From there, impulse. So it'd be very interesting if 85 is an impulse. But if I was looking at like multiple buys, I'd buy one right now. I'd buy 85, 82, and 80. And then I would be looking for, like, in terms of like if you're matching all those buys, I'd be holding this actually. CFG, I'd be holding it because there's a good chance as this goes to skyrockets, right? Like this is my high 22. I would be holding this. This is one of those ones. This is one of those ones I would hold. Some of them I normally tell you 100% I'm out. This is one of the ones I would hold because of the fact that I expect more out of it. And you can do your research on CFG. It's a really good coin. It has a lot of use cases and a lot of scenarios. Their biggest thing that they're working on is creating, putting your actual stuff on blockchain and be able to take collateral off of it. So like being able to take like I'm not giving it justice. Let me just give you like being able to borrow from your own assets. So CFG, it's a DeFi, it's DeFi. And like I like DeFi. You know me and DeFi. Okay. There it is. Centrifudge is a token model, power of Centrifudge, providing the framework needed to run the platform without reliance on single point of failure, including Centrifudge team, algorithm employs Centrifudge stake value adoption. Oh, that doesn't really tell you what a Centrifudge is. Okay, let me just read this for you guys, and then I'm out. Dope. Okay. So unlocking liquidity for real world assets. So this is like anything that you have, you can bridge at your assets like invoices, real estate, royalties to DeFi, and then make an NFT off of it and borrow from it. Borrowers can finance their real world assets without banks and other intermediaries. So like this is the type of stuff when you look at, this is going to change the world. So it's currently sitting at 88 cents. The valuation of this is a lot higher than 88 cents. This is the part where you can kind of be like, oh, well, how many tokens are there? I think there was like when I looked at the tokenomics, it's not that many. I think it's like in the millions. No, don't quote me. It's token economics value, token supply. Yeah, there it is. 425 million CFG tokens. So there's not a lot. So like don't look at this and be like, oh, it's not going anywhere. trust me on this. When you like read the white paper, just go read the white paper. Just do your own research, read the white paper, and you'll be like, oh, huh, 88 cents, really, right? And this is the type of thing. There's a great book called The Intelligent Investor. It talks about this. It's like you can put the same place for stocks when you're looking at crypto. It's like, how much should this actually be worth? Well, at one point, this thing was worth $5. It's currently sitting at 88 cents. Even if you just hold it in and hold it up to $5, you're good. The all-time high, $2.47, 64%. Whenever it says like I go off of this, not off of CoinGecko, $2.48 brings you right up here. This is the all-time high. So eventually this needs to break the all-time high again, right? And then if you look at this, if this was the all-time high and this was your low, this is why I said it's at a great place, because this needs to turn around. It's your lowest point that it should go, 786, 886. This is the point that you should be buying up. Not even like just buy, because this might be the last time you get it under $1. Right? It starts rising, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I wish I bought more. I wish I bought more. I wish I bought more. Like I said, this is actually a good project that's working on something that's real life use case. Okay. I would hold GFG, JASMY, and then KDA. I would wait. Like I got it so early, so at the end of the day, I have some. But I would be, if it's like, let's say it doesn't put it into two different coins, I would rather go JASMY and CFG than JASMY and KDA. Like if you like, if money is tight, JASMY and CFG are better plays than KDA. KDA is a great play, but KDA was a great play when it was sitting at 26 cents and we were talking about it. Now it's sitting at $8. It's still a good play, but I would be more going towards the play of taking my profits from somewhere else and potentially just dollar cost averaging to KDA. I'm also looking for KDA to drop down to $3. So if you can get KDA at $3, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Go get it there. That's a great area for you to buy that token, right? It's like if we're looking at accumulating this, like down here would be a great area. Now you can see based off of where, now I'm showing you something here. Based off of where it looks like where it is off of the chart, JASMY and CFG look ready. KDA looks like it should be heading down for one more round to sweep all this. So, and this is where I would be wanting to buy KDA between $6 and $3. So if you're like looking at it and saying, what should I be getting? I would be looking at JASMY first, and then something that should be doing something like this. And then it'll probably start heading up, like, and to go volatile. Like from there, from like this point here, volatility. And KDA is one of those ones, like, you want to have KDA. Like, you keep it on your radar. Like, if it starts heading up, so if it starts heading up past 11, so let's say, for instance, it doesn't go down any lower, and it starts going up, right? So it comes up here and holds this level here, or it breaks this 18 and comes back and gives you a higher low at 15, then there's your area to buy. You had a chance to buy it at 8, you didn't. Dims are the breaks. But like you can see right here, if it's closing, if it's daily closes, you have 19 hours. If this daily closes like this, then the next point is $6. Your next point after is right here. And we can see, like, for everyone, like, your best point is right. My mouse connection got lost. Right in here. That's where I'd be looking at it, right here in this box. Clearing this gap in that box, and then from there, buy it. Let's say it retests. If it retests like that, that'd be perfect. If it does something like this, I'd buy off of the 886 and then do another buy right over here. Like, this is a confirmation buy. This is like suicide buy. And I'm calling it like that because that's what it is. It's suicide. Because you're technically buying, you're catching a falling knife. I'm a knife catcher sometimes. So, and then this is not catching and following that. This is a smart play. And then from there, I would expect to do something like that. All right. CFG is, you can get it on KuCoin. It's one. So on KuCoin, if you go to, it'll say your CFG is on, you can go to wrapped CFG. And the wrapped version of it is on KuCoin. You can also get it on some decentralized wallets. So like you can get on KuCoin, Coinbase, OKX. It's on the Coinbase exchange. So you're good if you have access. You're in the States, Coinbase exchange. If you don't like any of those centralized places, like it's also on Gemini. But if you don't like any of these centralized places, you can go to Uniswap. Uniswap has it, and then if you want like the same, it's the same thing. CFG, they're just on different networks. So like if you go to this one, you're still getting the same, like you're still getting the same thing. Wrapped is just a bit different. And this is all the places you get it on. Gate.io, CoinList. So I'd go the other route and get the wrapped and then have it there. Okay, boom. All right, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys learned something, got some stuff, got some plays. These are more, when you look at this, is not 100%. These are more long terms. Wow. Sorry, I just saw this. Rose. We got Rose originally, like, oh, like it was a while ago. It was like last year, like here. We were talking about Rose. Is that last year? Can't even see anything. Actually, no, it was, yeah, it was here. We were talking about Rose right about here and here. No, it was here. And it dropped down. And then it went. And then this was another area I said to buy it at in October. And it's gone. Anyways, it's Oasis. It's another good project you should read about if you were looking at getting this. Because it looks very parabolic right now. So good area to be looking at getting it right here at 34 cents. I'll put an alert there. If this rings, I'll be dropping a chart in the trade room chat for this, if this alert rings, because that's where I'd personally want to buy it. All right, guys. All right, that's it for today. All right, have a good one. Enjoy. Make sure you're on the next call tomorrow. Pretty sure Rudy's doing morning breakthrough, but if he's not, you got our first trading call tomorrow with Sean Ogutosin. We're gonna be making some money on the charts. All right, guys, have a good one. Peace.